solution for our members in France. I want to say bonjour, mes amis de France. Je m'appelle Gustavo Tolosa. Thank you for being here, and we look forward to the visit with Dr. McDougall. Didier today is our translator.
Bonjour à tous. Hello. Hello everyone. Hello Gustavo. Hello Dr. McDougall. Nice meeting you.
Hello there. I'm glad to be here too. More than you know.
Thank you, Dr. McDougall. Didier, could you announce to the guests that they can type questions, or maybe if you could announce that they actually type something in the box to their right-hand side that says that they can hear us, so that we know, because I don't know if they can see us or hear us.
You don't have the right-hand box there, only I do?
Okay.
Is that correct?
I think everybody has, if they click the button that says chat.
Yep.
Okay,
oui, bonjour à tous.
Alors,
Docteur...
Okay. I see now, I'm sorry, I see everybody that here, that they're writing messages saying bonjour, they can, hello, everything. Okay, so, but we're fine then.
Okay.
Very good.
Okay. Should I translate, or it's okay?
Yes, let me say this, and then you can do a translation of this. It's a very short.
Ok. Alors, Dr Gustavo demande que chaque participant à ce webinaire pose les questions sur la petite case en bas à droite, et n'hésitez pas à dire que vous êtes, que vous entendez bien et que vous voyez bien. D'accord.
I lost 70 pounds and regained my health following the Starch solution with Dr. McDougall, and I'm very passionate about helping others.
Dr Gustavo a perdu 70 pounds, ça fait à peu près une trentaine de kilos, et il est très satisfait de parler de cette méthode parce que ça lui a apporté beaucoup.
People are very confused. Every day there is a lot of misinformation, and it's a wonderful feeling to feel empowered when you have the right information. And so today we're here to let Dr. McDougall say a few words and then to answer questions of the attendees.
Ouais. Alors, généralement, les personnes sont assez désinformées. Il y a beaucoup d'informations qui sont contradictoires. Donc, aujourd'hui, c'est l'occasion d'écouter Dr. McDougall pour nous motiver, pour nous remettre sur la bonne voie.
So without delaying it anymore, I will introduce our guest of honor, Dr. McDougall. He is very busy this weekend in a conference that he's hosting in Santa Rosa. And,
that's right.
Santa Rosa, California. And we're very thankful that he took the time to be with us.
Oui, aujourd'hui, Dr Rosa va nous présenter Monsieur Dr McDougall, qui est très occupé cette semaine parce qu'il doit assister à une conférence à Santa Rosa en Californie. Et donc, de ce fait, nous avons beaucoup de gratitude envers Monsieur Dr McDougall.
Dr. McDougall, I pass it on to you if you'd like to say a few words, and then I will go ahead and give you the answers that have been sent to me.
Okay. I'll try and make my answer short just to make Didier's time easier.
Thank you.
I'm a medical doctor. I've been in medicine for over 40 years, and I've been teaching people about good diet and how to get well since about 1978. So that's almost 40 years. I'm an internist, a board certified internist. I'm a regular medical doctor. I prescribe medication when necessary, but I treat people with dietary diseases by changing their diet. And just to finish this thought out, the kind of diet that people need to be on to prevent disease, and even more importantly, to cure their chronic diseases, the kind of diet I recommend, I call a starch-based diet. And the reason I use that word is it best describes what people are supposed to eat. In the United States, starch is a vilified word. People think starch is fattening, dangerous. I understand in Germany, starch means strength. And so it's a very positive word. I don't know what starch means in French, but I'd be happy to learn what the French people think when the word starch is mentioned.
Ok, donc le docteur McDougall est médecin depuis 40 ans, depuis déjà environ 40 ans. C'est un médecin interne et c'est un médecin classique qui prescrit, comme tout médecin, des médicaments. Et son approche est complémentaire parce qu'il aussi recommande des conseils diététiques, des recommandations diététiques pour empêcher, pour prévenir l'arrivée des maladies. Et le docteur McDougall préconise un régime alimentaire qui s'appelle en anglais Starch Solution, et en français, en fait, Starch, ça veut dire les amidons, aliments à base d'amidon. Et il faut dire qu'aux États-Unis, tout ce qui est aliments à base d'amidon, donc starch en anglais, a une connotation négative, contrairement à l'Allemagne où le starch a une connotation plus positive. Donc, le docteur McDougall souhaite connaître la traduction en français de starch, et je lui dis que c'est amidon.
Thank you. The first question then that I have is the starch solution recommended for people who have cancer?
Yes, the starch solution, of course, is the name of the book, and the starch solution is a philosophy. But yes, eating a starch-based diet is not only recommended by me, but depending on how you interpret it, and I think if you interpret it with some focus of attention, you will find that as of February 13, the year 2015, that recommending a plant food-based diet or more grains, what I call a starch-based diet, has become the official recommendation for cancer patients to eat. And that recommendation has been made, official recommendations, once people get cancer, like breast, colon, and prostate, etc. The official recommendation to eat a plant foods, and I think the correct terminology is starch-based diet, has been made by the American Cancer Society. And there's a physician resource called Up to Date. And Up to Date came out in February of 2015 and made it official practice recommendation to not only use diet to prevent cancer, but once people get cancer, they strongly recommend, as part of their therapy, as part of their recovery from disease, to eat a healthy diet. Now, they describe it as more plant foods, less animal foods, but the diet I teach, same direction, little different intensity, is a starch-based diet. So yes, with cancer.
Oui, alors au sujet de la Starch Solution et et de la maladie des cancers. Le docteur McDougall indique que le 13 février 2015, l'American Cancer Society, donc une association américaine contre le cancer, a officiellement recommandé qu'une alimentation à base de végétaux, donc de fruits et légumes, était recommandée non seulement pour prévenir le cancer, mais aussi de manière curative à soigner le cancer. Donc c'est vraiment quelque chose de historique qu'une organisation officielle comme l'American Cancer Society fasse ce type de recommandation. Donc ça a été fait le 13 février 2015.
And my add to your translation, all of this discussion, including the reference to the American Cancer Society, is found on my website in a newsletter I wrote in February of 2015. So if you want to have a thorough discussion as to why the American Cancer Society and other official groups now recommend a healthy diet in the direction I suggest for people with cancer, just go to my website, look at the February 2015 newsletter.
Et ces recommandations officielles de l'American Cancer Society s'appuient en fait sur le site web du docteur John McDougall et aussi de sa newsletter.
Didier, please tell the attendees that I can see the questions that they're writing, and I will start reading the questions. Some of them are writing them in English.
Okay.
If not, I will copy the question and send it to you in French.
D'accord.
Okay.
Oui, n'hésitez pas à poser les questions, vos questions à partir de maintenant. Il y en a certains qui les posent directement en anglais, mais vous pouvez aussi les poser en français.
Cyril, I don't know how to pronounce the name, Cyril, she asks, or he asks, I don't know the gender. Dr. McDougall, you talk about hypothyroid in your YouTube videos. What about hyperthyroidism? Can we do something about that with this type of eating of the starch solution?
Oui, la question de Cyril est concernant l'hyperthyroïdie. Cyril demande si, avec le régime alimentaire préconisé par Dr McDougall, on peut faire quelque chose contre l'hyperthyroïdie.
No, not in my experience. Hyperthyroidism, Graves' disease, this is an autoimmune disease. Graves' part, hyperthyroid means overactivity of the thyroid. I've never found a specific dietary cause, nor have I ever seen a patient recover with a change in diet. But if I was going to guess, I would guess hyperthyroidism is caused by some chemical pollutant poisoning the thyroid gland. And, you know, it's just a guess. But I don't see any direct.
Oui, alors le Dr McDougall ne fait pas de lien causal entre l'hyperthyroïdie et une cause alimentaire. C'est une maladie auto-immune. L'hyperthyroïdie peut être causée par des dérèglements chimiques.
Didier, did you receive the question that I sent? I don't know if you're able to receive the question.
Did you? No,
Okay.
I can't see the questions actually.
Okay, you cannot.
I cannot read the questions.
Okay, all right. Another person asks, what are the consequences of eating some fruit for breakfast?
Just an enjoyable breakfast. I think fruit would be fine. Maybe the question is, is there a limit on fruit? We recommend some fruit in our diet as a side dish. I think people should have some restraint, particularly people who want to lose weight. They should have some restraint on how much fruit they eat. And the reason is fruits are so delicious. They're so familiar that people who are trying to lose weight, if they focus on fruit, they could eat 15, 20, 30 fruits in the morning. And that would be a couple thousand calories that the body would have to deal with. They're good calories, it's good food, but still, that's a lot of calories consumed. So I think, in general, 3 fruits a day for people. If weight loss is a real primary goal, maybe less. But would it be harmful to eat 15 or 20 a day for a healthy person? Probably not.
Ouais. Alors le docteur McDougall, par rapport à la question, est-ce qu'on peut manger des fruits pendant le petit déjeuner, le docteur McDougall précise que les fruits, c'est un aliment très sain, c'est OK. Mais dans le cas précis où la personne souhaite perdre du poids, il déconseille en fait la prise trop importante de fruits, parce que le problème c'est que les fruits c'est un aliment, les fruits sont très délicieux et on peut dans le cadre de la perte de poids, on peut manger énormément de fruits et ça peut gêner la perte de poids parce que le corps doit gérer cet excédent calorique et en cas de perte de poids, ça peut être très compliqué. Donc, Dr McDougall recommande de se limiter à 3 fruits si on veut perdre du poids.
May I add the shortcomings of fruit, like oranges and bananas, compared to starch, like rice and potatoes and sweet potatoes. The shortcomings of fruit are that they spoil quickly, so they're not a food of storage that people can rely on in times that aren't plentiful. Whereas starchy foods like potatoes, they last all year long if you keep them cool, and rice and other grains, they'll stay in cool, dry places for 2, 3, 4 years. Fruits are quite perishable, so they've never been a primary source of calories of any population of people. No, they're only around a short part of the time. The other thing about fruit is it's mostly simple sugar. They're easily accessible little sugars, and they taste very sweet, and they give you a burst of satisfaction after you eat them, but it goes away very quickly. Starch is more complex sugars. We call them actually complex carbohydrates. And when you eat them, they give you satisfaction of the appetite. That lasts a long time because it takes a long time to digest these more complex sugars. So you don't want to center your diet around fruit. I mean, it wouldn't be practical in other times in history without refrigeration. And number 2, you don't want to center your diet around fruit because the satisfaction you get is very transient. That's why there have been very few fruitarians. And there have been many, in fact, all the large populations of people have been starch eaters.
Ouais. Alors, en fait, l'autre inconvénient des fruits par rapport aux produits starch, c'est que l'inconvénient des fruits, c'est leur difficile accessibilité. Les produits starch, on peut les avoir tout au long de l'année, alors que les oranges, c'est vraiment des produits saisonniers. Et aussi, tout ce qui est les produits starch sont stockés plus facilement. Et aussi, le gros avantage aussi des starch, c'est que ça permet, en fait, ce sont des sucres complexes, contrairement aux fruits qui sont des sucres simples. Donc, les produits starch se digèrent plus lentement et on est plus rassasié de manière plus longue. Et donc, le docteur McDougall a rarement observé des personnes qui adoptent un régime fruitarien sur sur le long terme.
Didier, can you see the question that Marina posted?
Marina, no, unfortunately.
Right now, I'm
Oh yes, on the box, yes. So should I translate those questions?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, hold on a second. Yes, the first question of Mary, for those who have a problem to digest legumes, what kind of, and also to digest potatoes, what kind of advice would you recommend, Dr. McDougall?
Okay. The first part, I think here clearly they have trouble digesting legumes like beans,
Yes,
peas, and lentils.
exactly.
That's common. Uh, Almost everybody knows beans give gas because they have some undigestible carbohydrates in them. And so if beans cause you too much bowel gas or cramping, just don't eat them. You don't need them for anything special. You don't need them for protein. Just don't eat them. Switch to another kind of starch like rice or wheat or potatoes or sweet potatoes or oats or pick other starches. You don't have to eat beans, peas, and lentils. Don't buy into the protein myth. You don't need the legumes to get extra protein. You got all the protein you need in oranges and apples, rice and corn, etc.
Oui, alors pour ceux qui ont des problèmes pour digérer les haricots secs et les pommes de terre, bah, il faut prendre des alternatives. Le docteur McDougall recommande de consommer tout ce qui est patate douce, tout ce qui est riz, tout ce qui est avoine. Voilà, il faut pas hésiter. Sa recommandation est de ne pas les manger et de trouver des solutions de remplacement. So the second question is yes, she asked that fatty products are known to nourish the brains of the people. What is your take about this assertion?
Can you say the first word again? What was known to
The
nourish
the fatty
fatty acids for the brain?
yes, fatty
Oh,
acid, yes, for the brains.
yeah, you know the brain has a lot of lipid or fat in it, but all that fat comes from plants. I mean, you can grow an elephant's brain from plants. Or get all the fat you need. There's plenty of fat in the plant foods, and it's the right kind of fat. Not only the right kind, it's in the right proportion that the body needs. And so plant foods are the best sources of fat for the brain. Now, other people will tell you, well, the brain's made of fat, so you must eat a lot of fat to be smarter. You know, that's not true. You don't have to eat a lot of fat. People say if you eat fatty fish, you'll have a smarter brain. I mean, there are all kinds of misinformation. Just think about it for a minute. Is billions of people, in fact, I would estimate 9.5 billion, 9.5 billion of the 10 billion people who've lived on this earth have obtained the bulk of their calories from starch. Like in Asia, more than 90% of their calories used to come from rice. And the Asians have pretty good brains. And all that fat that they needed came from the rice. So the fat's in the plant foods. You get just the right amount and just the right kinds from eating plants.
Ouais. Alors le docteur Mardugal précise que en fait il n'y a pas besoin d'huile pour se nourrir des cerveaux. C'est l'affirmation qui dit que le cerveau utilise beaucoup de matières grasses et fausses. Et enfin les produits Les huiles peuvent aussi provenir de, de matières végétales. Et c'est une désinformation de penser que c'est uniquement dans les huiles qu'on pourrait trouver ça. Il y a des milliards de gens qui consomment beaucoup de produits starch. En Asie, par exemple, ils consomment du riz, ils consomment très peu de matières grasses et ils n'ont pas de problème pour avoir euh, des sources de produits à base d'huile. So the third question,
Excuse me 1 second, Didier.
yes,
I
yeah,
have um, I have a question that someone asked a while back. It is
yes,
if a pregnant or breastfeeding woman, um,
yes.
it's okay to eat a plant-based diet centered around starches, or if there are certain things that they need to add or consider when they're pregnant or breastfeeding.
Okay, Deidre, first thing,
Hold on, let Didier
Yeah.
translate the question.
Okay, so I will translate this question. So should I translate it in English? Or?
No, say it in French. That way, people know what
Ok, yes. Ok, oui, la question c'est est-ce que les personnes enceintes peuvent suivre le régime alimentaire du docteur McDougall en suivant la Starch Solution, ou bien ils doivent faire des ajouts complémentaires pour tenir compte du fait qu'ils soient enceintes.
Okay, Deidre, the first thing I want you to translate
Yeah.
is I want you to tell the audience that pregnant and nursing women these are not states of disease. Pregnancy and nursing are normal states of health, and the same thing you feed a woman who's not in this time of life is the same thing you feed them after you get pregnant. After they get pregnant or when they're nursing, it's the same food. You know, the food for women, in this case you're talking about women, is the same regardless of their state or stage of life.
Ouais. Alors, il y a une chose qu'il faut que le docteur Madougal souhaite préciser, c'est que les femmes qui sont enceintes ou les femmes qui allaitent ne sont pas dans un état de maladie, c'est un état normal de la vie et il n'y a il y a aucune raison pour qu'elles changent leur mode alimentaire parce qu'elles soient enceintes. C'est un état normal de la vie. Okay.
Okay. And next, tell them that pregnant and lactating women are different in the sense that they're hungrier and they eat more food to support the lactation and the pregnancy. And when they eat more food, they take in more protein, vitamins, minerals, and so on. It always meets their needs. It always works.
Ouais. Alors en fait, quand la femme est enceinte, elle, elle a tendance à plus manger et en mangeant plus, elle mange plus de protéines et cela satisfait bien ses besoins.
The breast milk of a woman is healthiest when she lives on a starch-based diet and avoids meat and dairy. It's healthiest because it has the best fats and nutrients in it, but it's also healthiest for one area that I want to discuss with you.
Ouais. Alors en fait,
first, let me tell you what it is.
Okay.
Go ahead, Didier.
Ok, en fait, le docteur McDougall insiste sur le fait que en supprimant tout ce qui est viande et tout ce qui est laitage, la femme permet en fait de recueillir les meilleurs nutriments à partir des produits végétaux.
The one thing you can focus on that will put this all in context is that nursing women, lactating women who nurse their babies, if they eat meat or dairy products, they produce polluted milk. It's full of environmental chemicals.
Ouais.
And there was a study done back in the 1970s where they looked at 1,400 lactating women and analyzed their breast milk. These were women from 48 states in the United States. And after analyzing their breast milk, they declared the breast milk of American women to be a health hazard because of the chemical pollutants, the DDT, the PCBs, the methylmercuries, the different environmental poisons that are concentrated in the meat and dairy, and when they eat those foods, they transfer those foods to their breast milk. I just did. Okay, go ahead.
Oui. Alors, il y a une étude scientifique qui a été faite dans les années 70 qui observait en fait que les femmes qui se nourrissent à partir de produits laitiers et de viande ont retrouvé des substances toxiques dans le lait maternel, et notamment le DDT, le PCB et d'autres produits polluants. Et cette étude était très nette.
I just did a newsletter. I do a newsletter once a month. I just did a newsletter on Eskimos. Inuits, they call them, but Eskimos, people living in the polar north, high latitudes, in Alaska, Siberia, and so on. And one of the things about the Eskimo is that their bodies are the most polluted of any people on the planet because of their high meat intake. You know, this all happened since the 1970s. The Eskimo people have the most toxic bodies because they eat all that meat. And they looked at the breast milk of Eskimo women, and they found that Eskimo women, you know, big carnivores, meat eaters, have 10 times the amount of environmental poison in the breast milk compared to Canadians.
Ouais. Alors, le docteur Madugalt précise qu'une fois par mois, il publie une newsletter. Et dans sa dernière newsletter, il observe en fait que au pôle Nord, chez les Esquimaux, le corps des Esquimaux était très pollué. Les Esquimaux, il faut savoir que les Esquimaux sont de grands consommateurs de produits animaux, et on observe également que chez les femmes, le lait maternel des femmes Esquimaux était 10 fois plus toxique que chez les Canadiennes, par exemple.
Dr. McDougall, I have had quite a few questions about what would, in your opinion, be the cause of not losing weight when eating a plant-based diet based on starch. And of course, in my opinion, sometimes we are still programmed to think in a diet way where we have to limit what we eat and how many times a day we eat. And I don't know if that has something to do with it, but that is a question that several people have asked. What things do you think that are they're following the diet and they're not losing the weight that they want to lose?
Ouais. Alors la question est en fait à Monsieur Dr Madugald est quels sont les facteurs qui empêchent la perte de poids? Certaines personnes suivent le régime alimentaire et puis ils n'observent pas de perte de poids. Voilà, quels sont les facteurs qui limitent cette perte de poids malgré que les personnes suivent le régime alimentaire prescrit par le Dr Madugald?
Misunderstanding. Some people, misunderstanding. Some people would say that dieters are liars. They don't tell themselves the truth, and they don't tell other people the truth, and maybe they just don't really understand. I see a lot of, let's just call them plant food eaters, vegetarians, who struggle with weight. In fact, I wrote an article called The Fat Vegan. there are several reasons that I see fat vegans. They don't eat any animals, but they eat fake meat and fake cheese, soy meats and cheeses, which are very high in fat. They eat lots of health food margarine and vegetable oils. And so these people, even though they've made a big step in giving up animals, they're still eating the fat and the oil, and they stay fat. And the most helpful thing to get these people who are well along the way, to get them to where they need to be to lose weight, the most helpful thing is to get them to understand the importance of starch. You have to understand the value of starch, that this is the key ingredient in the human diet. Otherwise, you're out of control. You can't lose weight. You can't get healthy. You can't get your energy.
Oui, à la question, quels sont les facteurs qui empêchent cette perte de poids malgré que les personnes suivent le régime alimentaire correct? Déjà, c'est un problème de mauvaise compréhension. Et deuxième facteur, c'est les personnes pensent qu'ils ne perdent pas de poids parce que leurs conseillers en nutrition sont des menteurs.
Sorry.
Voilà. Et il arrive aussi souvent que aussi bien des personnes carnivores que des personnes végétariens ou végétaliens ont ont aussi des problèmes de perte de poids. Des personnes véganes, végétaliens ont aussi des problèmes de perte de poids parce souvent ils compensent leur alimentation par des produits alternatifs comme de la viande végétarienne ou des fromages végétariens et aussi beaucoup de produits végétariens gras. Donc c'est un problème de mauvaise compréhension. Et le docteur Maldugal insiste sur le fait qu'un régime alimentaire basé sur Starch Solution est justement une solution pour perdre du poids parce que ça s'appuie sur des produits d'amidon qui sont durables.
Voilà. Deidre,
yes?
Tell them, there are two things. Tell them the fat you eat is the fat you wear.
Oui. Alors, le docteur Maldugal insiste sur le fait que le gras que vous mangez, c'est le gras que l'on porte. Première chose.
Okay, now tell them, if you would please, tell them that there are no fat people living on starch-based diets.
Ouais.
There are 2 billion Asians, China, Japan, Vietnam, Thailand, who before 1980 lived on 90% of their diet as rice, and you couldn't find a single fat person. You can't find any place in history, any place in geography, any population or any individuals who live on a starch-based diet who are overweight or fat.
Ouais.
They have to introduce animals and the oils to get fat and give up the starch.
Ok. Alors, il y a, Dr Maldugal précise sur le fait qu'il y a 2 milliards de personnes qui vivent à partir d'un régime alimentaire Starch Solution, c'est-à-dire à partir d'amidon. Et jusque dans les années 80, ces personnes en Asie qui vivaient à partir de ce régime alimentaire basé sur le riz, par exemple, il n'a rencontré aucune personne obèse ou ayant des problèmes de surpoids.
In summary, the fat, you've got to stop eating the fat, and instead you have to eat the sugar, the starch, the rice, the potatoes, the corn.
Ouais. En conclusion, il faut stopper la consommation de graisse, de produits à partir de graisse, et augmenter des produits glucides, à base de glucides, à haut taux de glucides, comme le riz, les patates.
Can you see any other? Can you see the other questions that I have broadcasted here, Didier?
Can I see them? Well, let me take a look.
Yes. So the third question I have to ask is, are fatty products as nuts and seeds, does it prevent some consumption of nuts and seeds, for example, does it prevent to lose weight?
Yes, 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 yes. These are fattening.
Ok. Oui. Est-ce que, alors la question c'était, est-ce que les produits, est-ce qu'une poignée d'oléagineux par jour empêche la perte de poids? Le docteur McDougall dit que oui, ça empêche la perte de poids parce que c'est des produits avec beaucoup de graisse.
The fat vegan is eating nuts, seeds, vegetable oils, fake meats, and cheeses, and they're not eating rice, corn, and potatoes like they should. It's simple to solve because they already want to be different. They just need this little bit of key information.
Alors oui, tout ce qui est produit oléagineux empêche la perte de poids et le végétarien la personne qui se lance dans la voie végétalienne doit se concentrer sur tout ce qui est riz, maïs et produits starch.
Do you think that here's a question that from Cyril. The Dr. McDougall and Dr. Esseltine talk about plant-based diet helping to reverse heart disease. Do you think that the same can be applied to bradycardia, like a slow heart rate of 40 beats per minute?
Alors la question c'est, est-ce qu'un produit à base un régime alimentaire à base de produits végétaux peut empêcher la survenance de maladies cardiovasculaires?
Bradycardia has many causes. Strong athletes have a slow heart rate. That's normal. But people can have a bradycardia, which is abnormal, which is an artery disease. And so eating an unhealthy diet can clog the arteries and result in electrical disturbances that make a slow heart rate, bradycardia. But I don't think it can be reversed. I think this damage to the heart nervous system is permanent. But you still have to eat well.
Oui. Alors, en fait, le docteur McDougall oppose deux types de personnes. Des personnes qui ont un rythme cardiaque assez lent, donc ce sont les athlètes de haut niveau, et c'est tout à fait normal. Mais aussi des personnes qui ont un rythme cardiaque assez faible, et ça vient de désordre électrique, et il pense que pour ce type de maladie, c'est très difficile de trouver, de soigner par un régime alimentaire.
Dr. McDougall, I know you need to go. Do you need to go now, or would you like to take one more question?
If things are going smoothly, let's take a couple more questions if you're okay.
Okay, I'm fine. Yes. So I don't know. Do you have a list there, Didier?
Yes.
I am broadcasting a question right now.
Okay. The question you sent me earlier, or via mail? I don't see the question actually.
Okay.
Well, we're getting that up. When we started this conversation, I asked what the word for starch means to a French-speaking person. I
Ouais.
said a German-speaking person, starch means strength, and to an English-American person, starch means diabetes and fat. What does the word starch mean to French-speaking people?
Before starting this webinar, I've done some research on my French dictionary, and the only word I found was amidon. I'm not sure. Amidon.
Oh, sure, amylopectin would be in the amylose.
Yes.
So they don't have a word starch in French.
No, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I have to double check it, but the
Well,
only word I found.
what do they call the category of foods of breads and pastas and rice and beans? What is
Um,
the name for that category?
yes, there is a name. Is féculent. Féculent. It's féculent.
We have the same word in Spanish,
Yes.
almidón, and
Yeah.
almidón is what we use to press clothes, actually. And
Yes.
Is it a good word? Does it mean good things?
well, in Spanish, it doesn't mean anything that has to do with food.
No.
People use the word that is misleading, and they use the word that you, Dr. McDougall, try to avoid, and that I don't like either. It is carbohydrates.
Yeah, the carbohydrate is too foreign, too scientific. I'm kind of surprised that they don't have a word starch in the French language. I wouldn't know, but the French have been known as starch eaters.
Ouais.
Uh,
Alors,
bread.
le docteur Madougal est assez surpris d'observer en fait qu'il n'y a pas de traduction directe entre starch avec le français, alors que il observe quand même que les Français sont des grands consommateurs de starch, c'est-à-dire de féculents. Voilà.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I have a personal question, Dr. McDougall, about bread. What is your take about bread? Is it recommended in a starch solution diet, or is it devil?
Did you want to ask that in French first, or do you want me to
Oui,
answer?
ma question c'est, comme je sais qu'en France on mange beaucoup de pain, quelle est la position du docteur McDougall au sujet du pain?
Bread is the staff of life. In French tradition, bread was a huge part of the diet for probably 2,000 years in that area of the world. Bread well, right next to France is an area of the world called the bread basket of the world. Egypt, Syria, Iran, Iraq. That area of the world was the breadbasket of the world. And as you go west and north up into the areas of France and Belgium and even England, these have always been big bread eaters. For thousands, at least 2,000 years, bread has been a huge form in which starch has been eaten by people. Bread is good. It's just when we live in a crazy society that bread becomes condemned. It makes no sense.
Ouais. Alors, le docteur McDougall, par rapport au pain, estime que déjà le pain a été utilisé pendant 2000 ans en France, et la France est géographiquement à côté de régions comme enfin le creuset du pain, donc au Proche-Orient. Et même en Angleterre, qui est proche, le pain a été consommé depuis 2000 ans. Donc, Dr McDougall estime qu'il n'y a rien de mauvais contre le pain et que le pain c'est un très bon aliment.
Do you have any other questions there, DTR, that you can see on the screen?
Uh,
If not, as you look, I saw a question of someone that's asking if Dr. McDougall can give a short sample of what a day would look like in terms of food, something really simple. A person that is busy and doesn't have a lot of time to cook, what can they eat for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and maybe a snack?
Oui, alors la question de Gustavo, c'est d'avoir une idée de ce qu'est un régime alimentaire quotidien, surtout pour une personne type qui est très occupée dans sa vie. Quel est un portrait type alimentaire?
Your diet can be simple. Most traditional diets have been simple, like 90% rice and some vegetables, or large amounts of bread and a few vegetables. You can make your diet as simple as potatoes and water and be in excellent health. So you don't have to have a lot of variety. In practical terms, I eat, and many people I know eat, simple things like oatmeal or cold cereal for breakfast. For lunch and dinner, they'll have things like beans and rice, or bean burritos, or pasta and marinara sauce, or sweet potatoes and broccoli. You don't have to make this complicated. The foods are complete. You just eat some starch and a little fruit and vegetable. Put a little salt and sugar on it and spice on it if you want to make it a little tastier. And that's all. And naturally, you'll stay strong and healthy and trim, just like all people have throughout all of history living on starch.
Ouais. Alors, quelle est la journée type d'une alimentation starch? Alors, il faut être. Dr McDougall insiste sur le fait qu'il faut être le plus simple possible. Donc, une alimentation type, c'est 90% de riz et un peu de légumes à côté. Donc, il faut rester vraiment simple. On peut partir tout simplement d'une recette à partir de patates et à côté d'un peu d'eau. Et pour le petit déjeuner, on peut se baser par exemple sur des flocons d'avoine, et aussi dans la journée, on peut constituer son menu de riz, de haricots, de patates douces. Voilà, tous ces produits sont des aliments vraiment complets. Et si on veut rajouter un peu de goût à ces aliments, on peut rajouter un peu de piment et aussi un petit peu de sel.
Please, Didier, tell everybody that hopefully we will do more of these interactive sessions in the near future, and we can get more questions asked. But I believe that Dr. McDougall has to go. Is that correct?
Well, I think we've covered a lot, at least as far as an introduction. And Gustavo, I want to thank you. You're the one who put this together and all the energy behind it. And I'd sure be happy to talk to folks. In France is a real surprise to me, and I'm very pleased to do that.
Okay.
But yeah, let's do it. Let's talk to everybody. Let's change the world. Let's get the truth out.
Oui, le docteur McDougall doit maintenant interrompre parce il doit partir. Et Gustavo insiste sur le fait que il espère que dans l'avenir, il y aura d'autres séminaires internet de ce type. Et Dr McDougall est vraiment très ravi d'avoir assisté à ce type de rencontre avec des personnes en France.
And Dieter, thanks for your help. We couldn't have done it without you.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure, Dr. McDougall.
Yes, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
All right.
You're welcome.
Have a good day or good evening. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye, Dr. McDougall.
Bye-bye.